Alright. Hello, America. I'm here to talk to you a bit more about my campaign and my plans to put America back on top. First, let me tell you all about myself. Growing up in suburban New York, being raised by a single mother, I've had some core values instilled into me that not only shaped me into the man I am today, but have also had a good impact on developing my political platforms and plans. One of those values will have to be undoubtedly my understanding of hard work and the importance of it. As I continue to age and learn more and more about how the world works, my will to work hard to achieve goals is something that has not and will not ever change. Too often in today's political system, shortcuts are taken and corners are cut in order to get problems solved. After all, it is politics, so there's no surprise there. However, myself, not being a full-time politician, understands that in order to efficiently solve problems correctly the first time, you must take the necessary steps by putting in the hours and giving it whatever it takes to ensure that the correct solutions are put in place. And right now, America, we are in desperate need of some serious solutions and fast.
So, Mr. Affrunti, if there are so many problems in America, why do you want to be responsible for fixing them? Isn't that hard?
Oh, Mr. Berlin, that's a terrific question. I'm so glad you asked. Well, to put it simply, the United States is my home. It is our home, and I'm honestly quite tired of the people who don't have our best interests in mind when trying to solve our issues that we put in office. I'm fed up with the power-hungry sociopaths who will say anything just to get your vote and your money. If you want a job done right, you need to do it yourself. Or in this case, elect me as your president so I can do that for you.
Okay, Mr. Affrunti, we get it. You love America. You keep talking about these problems that exist, but what exactly are the problems you're even talking about?
Mr. Washwinder, another good question. Thank you for asking. Let me start with the state of American education, shall we?
Sounds good.
All right, excellent. Well, for starters, America is 28th in the world in education. Only 81% of students in the United States graduate high school. The reasons for dropping out are endless, everything from having to support a family to simply not liking school. The issue of 19% of students not graduating is one that needs to be solved immediately. We will accomplish this by offering outlets for students to balance life and school to ensure that all students complete their high school education. Some examples of this is offering online courses as well as creating more assistance programs for low-income families that rely on the income from high school students. Another issue in which we intend to solve is creating ways to properly assess students and teachers to ensure we are getting the best from both. Standardized testing is putting a serious strain on our education system. Students are spending too much time memorizing facts for a test as opposed to actually learning and understanding what is being taught. The Common Core will be eliminated and replaced with a curriculum that focuses on more practical and interactive learning. The power to decide what is best for our children's education will be put back into the hands of the district and the ones that know what is best for them. With regards to teacher assessment, we will ensure that each teacher will be formally assessed multiple times in a year throughout their entire career, even after they have acquired tenure. We will also provide all teachers and educators with the tools they need to continuously evolve in their career. This will be done through increased workshops and seminars. All teachers, regardless of location, will be required to participate. The next issue I'd like to address is the American economy. Currently, the U.S. debt sits at $19 trillion. I don't know about you, but I have no idea what $19 trillion even looks like. 33% of all federal spending right now goes to Social Security and unemployment. My plan to reduce this spending is targeted mostly at eliminating unemployment. 92 million Americans aged 16 and over are currently not in the workforce. Investing in rebuilding America's infrastructure could put more than 13 million Americans back to work in decent paying jobs. In 2012, 1 out of every 9 bridges in our country was structurally deficient. Roughly a third of our roads were in poor condition. 42% of urban highways are congested. On top of this, America's rail network is obsolete, with our fastest trains traveling only 150 miles per hour compared to Europe's high-speed trains going 350 miles per hour. All these facts add up to immense opportunity for jobs that cannot be shipped offshore or outsourced overseas. Investment in infrastructure alone can boost our economy to unimaginable heights and create a recession-proof workforce. I will also propose to offer tax credits to companies that keep manufacturing plants in the U.S. So many jobs have been moved overseas This has put thousands of U.S. citizens out of work, and the cost of their unemployment benefits has only put the country deeper in debt. Lastly, I would like to discuss foreign policy. We are currently at crossroads in our nation's history. We must decide whether we wish to continue to act as the world's police force or whether we step back and focus on American interests. When it comes to ISIS, there is no denying that the reign of terror must come to an end. We must put boots on the ground and defeat ISIS and its ideology once and for all. Taking the fight to them is the only surefire way to ensure their extinction. We must not lose the will to sacrifice and remember that our 100% volunteer military is completely ready to defend this cause. Along with offensive missions to destroy ISIS, we must also focus on peacekeeping efforts in the cities and towns that are currently being overrun with ISIS. We must assist in destroying their ideology abroad to help stop the spread of terror. Another foreign policy issue which needs to be addressed is the Syrian refugee crisis. There are currently close to 5 million Syrian refugees seeking asylum. The dilemma of how to deal with this has been hotly debated recently. My stance on the issue is quite clear and quite simple. The first role of the U.S. government is to protect its people. With the threat of terror ever growing, we cannot ensure that these refugees that wish to enter the United States are all here simply to make a better life for themselves. Therefore, at this current time, until we can stabilize the threat to the U.S. by these Islamic extremists, we have no choice but to deny access to the refugees.
Gee, Mr. Affrunti, you definitely have some clear-cut ideas on how to fix some of the problems that this country is currently facing. And you sure are the best choice for president.
Thank you, Mr. Ward. I appreciate that. I believe that the plans I have outlined here today are in the best interest of all of the American people. Remember, we are not going to just be talking about these issues. If you elect me as your president, I promise that we will take action and solve them.